Welcome to the Money Manifestation Mastery podcast with your host, Lara Waldman, where we talk all things money. Big money, big purpose, big power. Waking up your wealth for heart-centered business owners and entrepreneurs. In today's episode, we are speaking about money and power. How the Money Manifestation Mastery methodology is designed to help you reclaim your power and become empowered in every area of your life, including financial empowerment. Let's dive in. When I first started working with the Money Manifestation Mastery process, I had a lot of objections. I had a lot of concerns about this work. One of the concerns I had was around misuse of power. I was aware that a lot of examples of very wealthy people was an example of a misuse of power. And I didn't want anything to do with that. I had connected money with a misuse of power. Money with greed. And all I had was a negative point of view when it came to wealth, money, and power. Through the wisdom of my soul, that wealthy wisdom within, I was shown a whole new way of being with wealth. A world of wealth guided by the heart, body, and soul, a process I call integrated wealth, an example of a healthy, wealthy way of being. But my mind was not on board based on what I could see, based on my point of view, and based on my stories in that past version of myself. So I had to overcome a lot of objections, a lot of concerns, because I did not want to misuse my power when it came to wealth. And I was very concerned about this. So I spent a lot of time grappling with these fears, grappling with these objections, and working on transforming some of these stories. And one of the problems was I couldn't see examples of healthy wealth. I couldn't see examples of people who were using their money and their power, their positions of leadership in a way that felt aligned with my values. I could see a lot of misuse of power, a misuse of money, and I didn't want anything to do with it. So I rejected it. I cut it out. I turned my back on it. But then I was guided to lean into the world of wealth, of money, of business. I was guided to go in and transform the game, starting with myself. And slowly but surely, I realized that there was a whole other way of being with money, a whole other way of being with power that I hadn't realized, that I hadn't seen as a possibility. So I started to ask the question, what causes human beings to misuse their power? What is the underlying root of this problem? And how do I not misuse my power? What needs to be in place so that doesn't happen? And what's happening that creates this phenomenon of misuse of power? I've spent many years obsessing on this question and uncovering a whole wealth of information. These questions led me into this body of work, which I call integrated wealth. Heart, body, soul aligned wealth. Heart, body, soul aligned power. Because with money comes power. Money and power are connected. And it was my passion to make sure that if we're working with money and power, it needs to be in alignment so that we don't misuse it. What I have found is that human beings tend to misuse their power when they are disconnected from an aspect of themselves, when they are not integrated, when they are unconsciously running from trauma, from pain, from wounding. When there's aspects of ourself that are lying in the shadows. These shadow aspects, unconscious aspects, learn to get their needs met in all sorts of unhealthy ways. And this is where we see huge misuse of power in all industries, in all spaces, even in the conscious spiritual communities. So one of the answers I found, one of the answers I discovered to how to not misuse your power with money, in business, in leadership, is for the leader, the business owner, the wealth creator, to do deep diving inner work, to work on their money blocks, their trauma, their wounding, and come into a place of vulnerability. Bringing down the armor, bringing down the defenses, and connecting deeply within. When we're disconnected from ourselves, when we're connected to our power, but disconnected from our bodies or disconnected from our hearts, disconnected from our soul, disconnected from the planet, disconnected from humanity, we're capable of doing some very dark and destructive things, either to ourselves, to others, to the planet. But when we're in connection to our hearts, to our bodies, to our souls, to the planet, to one another, we can use our power for extraordinary things, to create incredible change, to innovate, to create new pathways that contribute to life, that feed life, that fuel life, where all life gets to thrive. But in order to come back into connection with ourselves and connection with each other, requires vulnerability. And we come back to vulnerability when we do our inner work, when we work our wounds, when we hold our trauma, when we rewire our neural pathways, when we regulate our nervous system, when we get really honest with ourselves and make sure we're doing our inner work. So the money manifestation mastery methodology is a process of creating inner wealth, integrated wealth, starting within to build without, through the guidance of your being, through the vehicle of your body, you as the business owner, who then takes that and ripples it out through your business and into your bank account. Our power is like fire. Fire can heat our homes, cook our food, be a beautiful fire pit to sit around, or a candle. But equally, fire can burn everything down, devastate, destroy, and kill. The difference is if the fire is held. When we're in leadership of that fire, it becomes something nourishing and beautiful. When it's not held, when we're not in leadership of fire, it becomes destructive. A similar thing applies to our power. It is energy. When your power is held, when you are in leadership of it, it can do extraordinary things in this world. But when it's not held, when you're not in leadership of it, and it's running you unconsciously, this is when human beings are capable of doing very dark, dangerous, and destructive things. And quite often, people use that power against themselves, become self-destructive through self-sabotage, or intentionally or unintentionally hurt and harm others. So it is essential to come into leadership of your power, leadership of your money so that you can consciously create in your life, in your business, and your finances. So becoming financially empowered is a journey of you stepping into your power, reclaiming your power, scooping up, holding, healing those parts that have been disconnected from your power. That can be through historical hurt and harm, wounding, trauma, lack of information, lack of education, lack of support. And take yourself on a journey of healing, of transformation, of evolution, of education, and ultimately empowerment. Now, unfortunately, no one can do this for you. Part of reclaiming your power and welcoming more money into your life requires you to take the reins, requires you to step into leadership. No one can do this for you. So it's essential that you make a decision that you want to reclaim your power, that you want to become powerful and wealthy in a way that's aligned with your values. My language is heart, body, soul aligned wealth, integrated wealth. So you have money, power that's aligned with your heart. It's going to bring you what it is that you truly desire. Even though I grew up around money and with money, I was not financially empowered. I was not taught how to create wealth. I just had it. It was actually very disempowering for me because having money around me and having a wealthy life was my normal, but I didn't know how to create it for myself. And it wasn't until I was in my 20s that I discovered this the hard way. But equally, I was a very powerful little girl. I was very fiery. I was a natural leader, but I didn't have any mentorship in that power. I was shamed. I was silenced. I was punished. I was just told I was bad for that behavior. But there was no mentorship. There was no leadership. I was not taught how to take all of this power, all of this energy, and channel it into something for good. I did do a lot of sport, and that really helped me. That really helped me channel this energy. But besides that, there was nothing else. And so when I started to burn out at the age of 17 and continued to burn out into my 20s, I could no longer take all that energy and put it into sport or put it into something physically competitive. So I had nowhere else to put it. I had nowhere else to go. So I realized that money and power needs leadership and mentorship. We need to be taught. We need to be supported. And especially as a little girl, there wasn't any room for me to be a financially empowered woman or a powerful woman in the world. I've been on a long, slow, and painful journey reclaiming my power, teaching myself to become financially empowered. And it is my passion to help you fast track this journey. Because even if you have money, or you've grown up with money, or money's around you, doesn't mean you're in your full embodied power. I find that most people are not. Most people are disconnected, shut down, shut off. Even with all the money in the world, they're still not connected to their heart. They're still not experiencing the love, or the relationships, the intimacy, and the health, the fulfillment that they truly desire. And I want you to have it all. I want you to be wealthy in every area of your life. Financially as one pillar, but also in all areas of life, which requires you to come home to your power, to your true creative power and potential. And that is a journey of coming home to your body, coming home to yourself, remembering who you are, reclaiming parts of yourself that you shut off from and shut down from a long time ago. And go on a powerful healing journey to transform past trauma, to transform past hurt and harm that created a sever of separation. And remember, that hurt and harm, that trauma that happened in your past is often generations old. These ancestral patterns, these ancestral trauma that have created separation from who we truly are over many generations. So from this point of view of integrated wealth, consciously creating wealth in every area of your life is a journey of coming home to your power, money and power, aligned with your heart, body, soul, this planet, and humanity. And from this place, you can create extraordinary results in all areas of your life and make waves of change in this world. Thank you for joining us for today's conversation, Money and Power. I would love to know what is landing for you after today's conversation. What are your takeaways? Are you ready to reclaim your power and to step into financial empowerment? To work with money and power in a conscious way, creating powerfully and effectively in your life, in your business, and your finances? If that is a yes, I'd like to invite you to come over to my website, larawaldman.com, and let's dive even deeper together into this world of wealth. We've got upcoming retreats, masterclasses, events to support you even further. So visit my website, and I look forward to diving even deeper with you very soon. And if you haven't already, don't forget to follow or subscribe to this podcast to never miss an episode. And I look forward to being with you again next time.